Hello, lovely ladies. It's Keri back for another episode with you. As we start this episode, I want to just share with you what I do before I record every episode, which, if you're watching it live, you can see. So, I always clean off my desk so that it has like a space to create. And then, most importantly, I light some Palo Santo, which creates this sacred space for us to be in communication and just makes me feel oh so good and clear. So today I want to talk to you about what makes you different, or that you are different and that it's time to own it. I think this is such an important conversation, and it's definitely something that I spent, oh gosh, the majority of my life coming to terms with. And I'm sure you've dealt with it too, because as many people that are listening to this, we are all different. That's why I started with some Palo Santo today on screen to show you my differentness. And that doesn't mean that there aren't similarities to us. That doesn't mean that we can't connect on deep levels because we have similar experiences in life. Absolutely. We absolutely 100,000% do. But today I want to talk about our differences. And I think this is so important because you are unique. You're a unique being. I'm a unique being. And as long as we're trying to be like everyone else, we can never fully let our light shine in the world. And you have an extraordinary, bright light that the world wants to see. And being different doesn't mean anything bad. It's just, it goes back to at a very, very young age, it felt uncomfortable to be different. You know, back in, I don't know, grade school, middle school, if you were different, people teased you. They made fun of you. I remember when I was, oh my gosh, I must have been 8 when my parents first got divorced. And I was the first kid at school for their parents to get divorced, which made me instantly different. And I got made fun of. I stood out. And it was then that I learned that it's not good to be different. It's way better to be the same. See, if we're the same, we wear the same clothes, we drink the same water bottles, we talk the same, we use the same jokes, then there's no threat to my life. Or back then, I mean, it felt like your life, didn't it? But there's no threat. There's just you being the same. And it's comfortable to be the same, especially in middle school. And I right now have a middle schooler. She's in 6th grade, going into 7th grade. And man, oh man, I get to relive my preteen years being a mom to a girl. It's the best experience I've ever had. And it's probably the most spiritual experience I've ever had, because what comes up is all the stuff I could never say back then. And I want to empower her to be 1,000% herself, which is not easy at this age because, again, you want to fit in, you want to be liked, you want to be popular. For sure, you don't want to be disliked or stand out. And yet, you want to be able to own who you are. And if there's goodness, I mean, I think there's goodness out of everything in the world, but one thing that's going on in our society today is the gender identity, which has people stand out, which I think I have a lot to say about this topic, which we're not going to get into. And one thing that I appreciate about this is that people are willing to be different. And if they're willing to be different and stand out, then so can you. so can anyone else in that grade or what have you. Because at that age, again, you just want to dress like everyone, have the same water bottle, etc. Now, that doesn't go away in middle school. I think it even gets worse in high school if you don't notice it, and then you become an adult. And if we look in society today, especially as women, but men too, we look around and everybody wants to be the same. Everyone wants to drive the same kind of cars, go on the same kind of vacations, experience the same things, make the same kind of money, carry the same designer handbags. A lot of women today just want to fit in. And we don't often see the differences that we all have and celebrate them. I see it happening a lot more today in society, but there's still like this taboo about being fully yourself. See, I am different. I'm completely different. I've been different my whole life. And since I was little, I've always been someone who just says it like it is, says what's on my mind, calls bullshit when something's bullshit and not back down. And my entire life, people would look at me and say, "You can't say that. You can't talk like that. You can't be that big." And I started shrinking. Maybe you heard this in your life. Like, you can't show people that you, I don't know, are still into Legos in college or what have you, whatever it is. And so that impacts you. So each time you hear that, you start to shrink a little bit more and shrink a little bit more and shrink a little bit more to fit in this box called being the same. And hopefully, because you are being the same, you'll be liked. And being liked feels good. It just does. Being different is uncomfortable. Showing people that you're different is uncomfortable until you find out that someone else is different in a similar way to you being different. And then we call that connection. So if you can admit that you're different, you can start to attract other people that are different in a similar way to you and create deeper, more profound relationships. So, and I know this can be hard, unprogramming all of the programming we've had growing up, but the most attractive people in our world are people that own their differences. They speak about their differences, they own them, they attract other people that have the same differences. And as scary as this can be, it is also exhilarating. See, in my in the aging process, as I get older, year after year, I learn to own myself, my differences more and more and more. And my daughter says this funny thing because she says, one day I was teaching her about, I read a lot of books on spirituality and personal development and growth and wealth mindset and you name it. And one day I was sharing with her this technique about letting your emotions flow through you so that you don't trap them inside of you. Because this is a whole nother conversation, by the way. But if you can allow emotions to just flow through you, then you don't trap them and you can be free of them, which mostly we do the opposite, right? And so in this book I read, they were talking about expanding your arms wide to the side and saying, "I welcome you." Sort of like you're giving a great big giant hug to a best friend that you haven't seen in a while. And you say, "Welcome," and it allows it to flow through. So one day we're walking around a chic part of town and she was saying something that was bothering her. And I'm like, "Ooh, I learned this great technique today." This was a while ago. And I stretched my arms out in the middle of the street with people walking everywhere. And I said, you're supposed to stretch your arms out and say, welcome to this experience. And then it just flows through you and it doesn't get trapped. And she stopped and looked at me and she's like, Mom, you make life so weird, and starts laughing. And she is 1,000% right. I make life so incredibly weird. I don't do things that most parents do. I don't do things that most business owners do. I light Palo Santo before I start my day or before I start a podcast. I sage my house. I go on spiritual retreats. I meditate. I have a crystal collection. I am very, very woo woo. I talk to God and angels every day. There's so much weirdness about me. I also am into biohacking. And now I know that if you're into those things, that might not seem weird. But as a general society, that is not something that is mainstream. My daughter doesn't have, I think she has one friend who has anything in common with me like that, to that depth of a level. And it's okay because those things that make me different are also what makes me me. And I am fucking amazing. And I say that and I own that because those things that make you different are what makes you fucking amazing. You are amazing. You are extraordinary. And just because everyone else doesn't think like you does not mean it's time to dim your light. We are no longer in middle school. This is not about fitting in society. This is about you fully owning who you are. No matter if it's different, no matter if it's weird, no matter if it's accepted, you being you at the deepest level, because that honors not only you, it honors other people. You're saying, I trust you to love me just like I am. And it honors God or your creator or whatever you believe in. I believe in God. So for me, that honors God for me to own myself. Anytime I'm pretending that a part of me doesn't exist or isn't real or I'm trying to hide it, I am dishonoring my creator and saying, you did something flawed by creating me. Oh, wow. That just struck a chord because it made me want to cry. Like I would hate anyone to feel that way. You were divinely created to be you and to have the differences you have. And it's time to love it about you and to own it and to be the best you can be every single day of your life. The more you can do this, the more that you're showing other people in life that it's safe to be themselves. It's safe to be different. It's okay if we don't agree on everything. It's okay if we aren't alike in every manner. We can find things because I do believe we're all one. So we can find areas where we do connect, where we do at a deep level feel the same meaning or connection. So today, I just share this with you because I feel so passionate. Like I said, I spent so many years listening to people in some way or another tell me to dim my light, don't stick out, don't share these things. And it is what makes me me. It's what makes me extraordinary. It's what makes you extraordinary. And it's time to take a deep breath and fully embrace the you that you are. So I would love to hear your thoughts on this episode. So I would love it if you gave us a rating, if you gave me a 5-star rating and you shared your thoughts on this episode and what your struggles are. I'd love to just open that conversation up and deepen it with one another and see how we can, one person at a time, change the world by being able to fully be ourselves. And by the way, if you are raising children of any age, the quicker you can own who you are and your differences, the quicker you are an example for them to own who they are and their differences, and they will be empowered to fulfill on the life that they came here for rather than trying to fit in a box that society tells them is the right way to be. So please, please, please own who you are, fully embrace it, and show the world it's okay to do that. Okay, so again, if you like this episode, share it with a friend, give us a rating, a review, and I'm also going to link, I just created top 10 mindset hacks that will have you live a high vibe life and have an extraordinary life each and every day. It's a free guide. You can download it below, and I would love to hear how it changes your life. So have an amazing week. I love you. I'll talk to you soon.